are living in emergency time because they already have the law. Notice the mark of the beast in the United States, White House. We don't know when they're going to enforce the law, friends. It's time for preparation because according to Revelation 13 and also the spirit of prophecy, whenever they enforce the law in the United States, every country also going to enforce the law. Friends, it's time for preparation. It's time to pray more and talk less. The time you have spent to study Bible a year, now you have to do it a couple of months. It's time to study the great controversy. Notice it will prepare you by the grace of God. The book, The Great Controversy or The Great Controversy is the same book. And also it's time to study Testimonies for the Church, Volume 5. If you can study also Volume 1 to 9, do it. Listen to this.
When though Noah, Job, and Daniel were in the land, they could save neither son nor daughter. For everyone must deliver his soul by his own righteousness. No one need say that his case is hopeless, that he can't live the life of a Christian. Ample provision is made by the death of Christ for every soul. Jesus is our ever-present help in time of need. Only call upon him in faith, and he has promised to hear and answer your petitions. Oh, for living, active faith. We need it, we must have it, or we shall faint and fail in the day of trial. The darkness that will then rest upon our path must not discourage us or drive us to despair. We should know this by our past experience. In that day when God has a controversy with his people, this experience will be a source of comfort and hope. It is now that we must keep ourselves and our children unspotted from the world. It is now that we must wash our robes of character and make them white in the blood of the Lamb. It is now that we must overcome pride, passion, and spiritual slothfulness. It is now that we must awake and make determined effort for symmetry of character. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. We are in a most trying position, waiting, watching for our Lord's appearing. The world is in darkness. But ye brethren, says Paul, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. It is ever God's purpose to bring light out of darkness, joy out of sorrow, and rest out of weariness for the waiting, longing soul. What are you doing, brethren, in the great work of preparation? Those who are uniting with the world are receiving the worldly mold and preparing for the mark of the beast. Those who are distrustful of self, who are humbling themselves before God and purifying their souls by obeying the truth, these are receiving the heavenly mold and preparing for the seal of God in their foreheads. When the decree goes forth and the stamp is impressed, their character will remain pure and spotless for eternity. Now is the time to prepare. The seal of God will never be placed upon the forehead of an impure man or woman. It will never be placed upon the forehead of the ambitious, world-loving man or woman. It will never be placed upon the forehead of men or women of false tongues or deceitful hearts. All who receive the seal must be without spot before God, candidates for heaven. Go forward, my brethren and sisters. I can only write briefly upon these points at this time, merely calling your attention to the necessity of preparation. Search the Scriptures for yourselves, that you may understand the fearful solemnity of the present hour.
Listen to this.
God leads his people on, step by step. He brings them up to different points calculated to manifest what is in the heart. Some endure at one point, but fall off at the next. At every advanced point, the heart is tested and tried a little closer. If the professed people of God find their hearts opposed to this straight work, it should convince them that they have a work to do to overcome, if they would not be spewed out of the mouth of the Lord. Said the angel, God will bring his work closer and closer to test and prove every one of his people. Some are willing to receive one point, but when God brings them to another testing point, they shrink from it and stand back, because they find that it strikes directly at some cherished idol. Here they have opportunity to see what is in their hearts that shuts out Jesus. They prize something higher than the truth, and their hearts are not prepared to receive Jesus. Individuals are tested and proved a length of time to see if they will sacrifice their idols and heed the counsel of the true witness. If any will not be purified through obeying the truth, and overcome their selfishness, their pride, and evil passions, the angels of God have the charge. They are joined to their idols. Let them alone. And they pass on to their work, leaving these with their sinful traits unsubdued, to the control of evil angels. Those who come up to every point, and stand every test, and overcome be the price what it may, have heeded the counsel of the true witness, and they will receive the latter rain, and thus be fitted for translation.
Friends, the mark of the beast that they already have in the White House. Notice the worship issue that Revelation 13 says. And the Bible also helps us to understand that behind the scene is the devil. Because the devil is the one who gave his throne, power, and great authority to the beast, according to Revelation chapter 13 verse 4. So notice God is using the language and calling Roman Catholic Church the system, the one who's in control, or the one who's riding the horse, Pope, the beast. And they themselves, they says in their teaching, notice the book of Catechism, they say Sunday worship is the mark of authority. Notice, so if the Bible said the mark of the beast, means this power has a mark. And they themselves, and again, says Sunday worship is the mark of authority. And according to Revelation chapter 13, whenever United States enforce the law, every country will also enforce the law, and everyone who receive their Sun worship day, they're going to have the mark of the beast. Whenever the law it's in enforce, now it's not the mark of the beast, according to Revelation 13, unless the law it's in enforce. God help us to understand that when we lift the banner, notice, of the 3 inches message, we have to preach the Sabbath, notice, more fully, friends. Because if you spend the rest of your life and you preaching any other gospel that is not the present truth of the hour, friends, you know what? Whenever they enforce the law, all the people that you waste God's time and his money and preaching them something different than what God told you to preach, those people, they're going to have the mark of the beast, because it's deception. That's why Revelation chapter 12 verse 9, Bible help us to understand that the devil will deceive the whole world. So preach the Sabbath more fully. Let them know that the Sabbath, when the sun go down Friday evening to Saturday evening, is God's holy day. Because if everybody's going to worship God on the Sabbath day, just like the Bible said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Nobody's going to say we came from chickens, monkeys, and alligators. What I mean is nobody's going to say they are atheists. They don't believe in God. The Bible said the 7th day is the Sabbath. And according to their calendar, if they look, notice, if you look your calendar, you're going to find out that a Saturday is always the Sabbath. Because Sunday is always begin as the first day of the week, friends. Not only your calendar, Jewish nation, even though I'm not Jewish, they still keep the Sabbath, Saturday. And also encyclopedia will tell you, those we're going to be saved in this last day, stand in the time of trouble, such as never was, friends. We are preaching the 3 inches message. So if you want to be saved by the grace of God, you have to preach the 3 inches message now. Don't let anybody stop you, even your own church. The devil going to use the tares to stop you. Friends, it's time to go forward by faith. God told us and again, now the just shall live by faith. But if anyone draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. We're not the one who draw back into prediction, but to the saving of the soul. If you want to know where you can get the books or to support God's faithful ministry, please do call me. My phone number is 856-503-5893. One more time, 856-503-5893. Get ready. Jesus Christ is coming. We only one step away from heaven.